No, think about it. How do
Mhm.
advertisers get you to buy stuff? How many times do you see their commercials? How many
Yeah.
times do those commercials keep playing until you humming the tune or you looking for it in the store just out of even curiosity sometimes. Like the
Yes.
Kool-Aid. Oh, okay, again, dating myself.
That.
The
Oh
Kool-Aid.
yeah. That.
Yeah, Kool-Aid was one of those things you'd be like, oh yeah, and the little jingle that went with it.
Welcome to Surviving and Thriving, the Black Experience. Here we talk about the real adversities Black Americans face while navigating corporate spaces, educational institutions, and the justice system. We name the pressures, expose the barriers, and share strategies to help you adapt, endure, and move forward while protecting your peace. So let's get into today's discussion. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Surviving and Thriving the Black Experience. I am Candice Renee, your host. Here on Surviving and Thriving the Black Experience, we talk about navigating corporate spaces, educational institutions, and the justice system, and just how to overcome and persevere and to maintain your peace. Here, we are continuing our conversation with A.M. Hunt. Hi, A.M. Hunt. How are you?
Great. Thanks for
Wonderful.
having me back.
Oh, of course. Anytime, girl, anytime. So we're gonna go ahead and hop right back into our discussion that had me reflecting the entire time. And also being solidified in the piece that I have as well too. So we were talking about doors. We were talking about doors that were opening, that were opened and were validating and affirming. But I kind of want to talk about those doors and trying to understand how do you know when to decide to knock on it again versus when it's time to just walk away from that door.
I will say I am grateful for one skill. Thank you for having me again.
Mhm.
But there's one skill that I learned from social services, and that is reading people. That is how I know when to go read knock again. I know it sounds corny, but like if I do a presentation and there's just like the body language is saying, I'm not interested, I'm never going to be interested because they're preoccupied with everything else, then I know that's not one I'm probably need to go revisit because I'm not going to have you keep hurting my feelings or my time or anything else that I need to use elsewhere. But if I could see like you may be disinterested, but something I say peaks with you, you'll look up or you'll take a note or you say, well, let me think about it. Those are doors I go back to because those are signals to me that they can probably be brought to where you are and meet you where you are and probably get on board with whatever it is you're trying to portray or present. So
Okay.
yes, I have problems with knocking on doors again, but if I can get it to open, I'm gonna get it open.
Mhm. I ask that because I think a lot of people, even including myself, do not like rejection, right? You hear about this all the time that people do not like rejection. They don't like somebody saying no. Like, and that's a real true feeling. But I appreciate you breaking that down of understanding like body language says a lot. And if someone is saying, like, even if they're trying to, I think sometimes trying to push off because maybe they don't have that time right there, your perseverance by coming back into their face and like trying it again um, may be the one, to have them in fact be able to purchase what you're selling or to hear what your actual, what your thoughts are and things as such. I think I heard it somewhere. Someone told me that I think it takes a person, what, 7 times to
Mm-hmm.
hear something to recognize it and or like to have a cognitive like connection to it in some way, shape, or form. So just imagine that 7 times going to that door, okay? And we expect it on that first try.
No, think about it. How do
Mhm.
advertisers get you to buy stuff? How many times do you see their commercials? How many
Yeah.
times do those commercials keep playing until you humming the tune or you looking for it in the store just out of even curiosity sometimes. Like the
Yes.
Kool-Aid. Oh, okay, again, dating myself.
That.
The
Oh
Kool-Aid.
yeah.
Yeah, Kool-Aid was one of those things you'd be like, oh yeah, and the little jingle that went with it. You was like, oh
Mhm.
my, I gotta have Kool-Aid. Your mom was like, yeah, no, we not. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna say that because my mom worked for them, but yeah, it's like, no, we're not. But it's what happens. Like even the candy counters when you're checking out, why do you think certain candies are placed at certain levels? So that every time you go through that checkout, the repetitiveness of it convinces you
Mm-hmm.
that that's something you need. I mean, how many times have you been in that line and you've picked up something you really did not have any intentions of buying or didn't need, but you
Oh
got to get
yeah.
started anyway? So
Oh yeah.
17.
That is absolutely true. I'm about to say Jolly Ranchers and Starburst and got me quite a few times. I'm like, you don't need all this. You ain't even think about Starburst before you came in. Or Snickers. You ain't you ain't hungry and you ain't hangry.
Right. But standing in that line, you thinking about what Snickers said. You're
Yes.
hangry. And
You
if you have that
hangry. Yeah.
candy bar, you're no longer going to be hangry. You might just be angry, but you won't be hangry because you had their candy bar. See how they
That's true.
sold you?
That they'll talk about how your blood sugar spikes and everything else, but you not hangry no more.
Heck
Okay.
no.
Um, so you write about resilience, and not about like the actual just speed that it takes, right? When did you learn that lesson, like personally, like in regards to the importance of like slowing down?
I think I learned it when I had to care for my mom.
Okay.
Um, and I also learned it watching my grandmother kind of go through dementia.
Mm-hmm.
It was a struggle, um, because, like I said, my work life balance was so high. But then I had to like think when I came to my grandmother, like she doesn't really remember me,
Mm-hmm.
even though in my childhood I slept in her room in her bed with her because, and again in the projects, I was living in the house, so kind of had to
Mm-hmm.
share some things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I said I don't want to miss out on her last few days here on Earth. So it's kind of like put the work aside. Then, I had my child, and it's like with my first child, um, she missed out on a lot. Even though I tried to give a lot, I missed out a lot. The juggling became too much. So with my second child, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to make that same mistake again. And
Mm-hmm.
then my mom with heart failure is like, I don't know when she's going to leave. None of us know when we're going to leave this earth, but it's a different type of knowledge that you have when someone, I used to say, my mom lives a death every day. So for her to get up was a blessing, and I didn't want to miss it,
Mm-hmm.
because we know that someday we're going to leave. But when you have an ailment like they did, that day is constantly on your mind because you're always thinking, tomorrow could definitely be my day, as opposed to you and I who are a little, I was going to say, or think we're healthy
Mm-hmm.
to the degree that we do. Yeah, oh, tomorrow, another day,
It's always
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Mm-hmm.
Right. But for someone that's ailing, that is constant on their mind that tomorrow might not come. So that kind of put a perspective on it for me. Like I saw my mom trying to do as much as she could for my daughter because she knows she wasn't going to be here
Mm-hmm.
for like all the things she had been for her previous grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
So she was pushing it and pushing it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy these people while I'm here
Mm-hmm.
because their time might come tomorrow, you know?
Mm-hmm. I thank you for sharing that because I see that's very, very much I got you getting sad. I don't mean to do that, but
You know what? My mom be like, girl, like, and people gonna find this to be funny.
that was it got me tearing. Like,
But my mom, for her
mm-hmm.
funeral, she planned her own funeral because she didn't want the burden on us.
Mm-hmm.
And she swore us to secrecy for almost a year, not to tell people she had created this video that she wanted played at her funeral. So can you imagine?
Yeah, trying to hold all
Right.
this.
We all know, and we had like these what we call Tuesdays and Thursdays where people would come over. Now, remember, during COVID, during her last few years of life, people would come over because she wanted to share what her knowledge of life
Mm-hmm.
and what not to do and what to do. And because again, she was a union rep, so everything had legal ramifications.
Yes.
And she wanted to videotape memories for us to have.
Mm-hmm.
So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we would have these meals where we would just gather and friends would come. And we had to hold this information in. And when it came to the funeral, I did get up and speak. And then they played the video. Everybody in the room it just crashed. Because she told us,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you, she even told us in the video, she said, cry your tears, dry those tears, and party. Because this is a celebration of my life, not of my death.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there said, live best you can.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you need to do but do what you want to do too, because you never ever know what might change the dynamics of your life.
Your mother's sounds and was an amazing woman. And it's
Oh
so
yeah.
amazing to the woman that you are today and just how resilient you are. Um, Girl, you got me. I'm trying not to cry because my mascara
I
gonna
mean,
run. I already got my tear. I'm like, okay, no, I gotta keep it
it was,
together. Okay.
was a hereditary thing because my grandmother as well, she did not allow things to define her.
Mm,
When her lead teacher told her, "You'll never be a teacher. I'm the lead teacher. You have to listen to me." My grandma was like, "Okay, I got one for you." My grandma went back to school and got her degree and became the lead teacher over the lead teacher
and
because they
that's what
liked
we
her better.
do. That's
It's
what
just
we do. I
so
that and that is what we do. When someone says you can't do it, I'm gonna show you better I can tell you.
yep,
Because if the way I was brought up was God to give you double for your trouble.
yep.
So, and it has been, and in some cases in my life, triple, quadruple. So I'm just saying the Lord has done a lot
Look,
for me.
multiply this by 100, like the Bible say, hundredfold, tenfold. That's
Mm-hmm.
me. That's
Okay.
my rewards as well. So
Okay. Amen to that. Um, how has your definition of strength changed over the years?
as a child, I think I discussed it in the book. As a child, strength was who's the strongest on the play yard, who
Mhm.
can swing from the monkey bars, who can climb outside the sliding board. Okay, yes, ma, I did that. It was dangerous. You told me not to, but I did.
Mhm.
So that's what it was. Then when I got to high school, strength was who has the most,
Mhm.
who 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 is has the better grades, who can have the most friends, who can be the most outgoing. And then when I got to college, it was like, okay, how do you hold it all together? Who can hold it all together? Who can party every night? Who can get up and go to class? Who can get those grades and keep it moving? But as an adult, I learned, and I think I expressed this very much when you have your what people call their ride and die friends and their forever girlfriends. I learned that strength was not all of those things.
Mhm.
Strength came from being able to cope, evaluate, reflect, and grow.
Some of the hardest lessons in your career will never be in the handbook. They show up in silence, mixed signals, shifting expectations, and or when you're blamed for not knowing rules that nobody ever explained. Too many people walk into professional spaces thinking doing a good job is enough. But the truth, doing the job and understanding the environment are not the same thing. That's why I created Classes in Session The Real First 90 Days, a 3-part digital workbook series created to help you navigate what people should have told you from the very beginning. This workbook teaches you how to recognize what's really going on, protect yourself with strategy, communicate with more clarity, set those necessary boundaries, and most importantly, how to help you stop doubting yourself in spaces that were never designed to make things easy. And even if you didn't know that you needed this before, once you see the blueprint this workbook gives you, you'll understand exactly why it's absolutely a necessity. You can purchase each part separately or get the full bundle on my website or just click the link below. Get your copy today.
If you can grow from it, then you're strong. If you can rise up like a phoenix from the ashes, you're strong. Might be minus a few feathers because all parts might not come back the way you want them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can rise up, you're okay. Like I say, I think in the book I mentioned, in both books, I mentioned how if you're broken, you can be put back together as imperfect as it is, you're still beautiful. You're just beautiful in a different way.
Okay.
And that's how I see strength now.
Okay. Um, we touch bases in regards to surviving and pretty much being able to go past that and understanding that survival, is not the final destination, right?
Hmm.
So life has handed you, major transitions. So what helped you stay steady during the changes?
My faith,
Okay.
holding on, praying every night, praying every morning, praying in my joy, my sorrow, just knowing that that saying, God doesn't put more on you than you can handle, it was true for me. Every step I took, I knew was a foundation block to something greater.
Okay. How did you rebuild when parts of your life shift unexpectedly?
In all honesty, the rebuilding was a struggle a little bit. I I tried different avenues to, like I said, I found the one that fit me the most. And again, it took me back to my childhood. And that came about upon the death of my mother as we were sorting through the school things that she kept for us. I had like pages of writings and drawings and little stories I had written. So that was like a full circle moment for me. And if people visit my business webpage of Be Me, being eccentrically me every day, they would see some of those posts where I post those things that brought me full circle.
Um, I always tell people they can, let their heart out on the channel. So I'm gonna give myself some grace to let my heart out as well. As we've talked offline, of course, too, our lives are very similar. Even though there may be like a generational, gap and things as such. And I say I
I
was like,
know
okay,
that 'cause
it's
I'm
just
younger than you. I know.
right.
Mid 19 it's so hard. Okay, but I grew up some in the last 10 minutes. I'm 26 now. I
I
feel like
think
I the right age to get into the right clubs.
how does happen when you so much you got an 8-year-old grandbaby? But look, I appreciate you making me stop crying because when you said that part, now look, now you can actually like let them flow, Lord Jesus. I'm have a little light spike, but I'm keeping this part in the video too. But but when you were talking about your mother having writings and things as such and things put aside, my grandmother passed away in 2019. And I had to, in fact, sell my grandmother's home and do some different things and stuff like that because of a lot of reasons and stuff. But I ended up being able to do that. So before the actual selling of the actual house, I went into my grandmother's house, who she was a hoarder, let's be clear, but she had her own money. um, but I found when my grandmother started to go through dementia, she had started to draw things so that she could remember where things were. And when she had passed, nobody knew where anything was in that house. So I found her lion that was in the back when everything else was hoarded and everything else was like, oh my God, where you gonna find anything? I feel like she had left that there for me to find it. And inside of it, it had all these pictures of my grandmother and my grandfather's wedding rings, pearl earrings, and different items of worth in the house. And
Hmm.
I literally tell you, it was the most amazing, heart-wrenching thing I've ever done was when I went around and found each of those items that she had drew.
Mm.
And it was the craziest thing. I'm like, cause she knew. She knew what was happening and stuff, and we didn't know. And so it just touched my heart to know that like you live that, similarly as well, being able to see your mother's things that she wrote down and just how she thought. And it's
Hmm.
it's really amazing just to see, someone who's gone now, but just to be able to have those moments of I can see through your eyes at that time. So yeah.
It just showed how proud my mom had been of us. I mean, she kept everybody's report cards. You know how you keep your little kids' drawings.
Mm-hmm.
She kept most of that from each year.
Mm-hmm.
And when we found it, it was like, oh my God, she really kept this stuff, you know. And like I said, it brings you full circle because when you're at dealing with stuff like this is where the resilience and the strength come in. And that's what I say your strength as an adult differs from that of a child. As a child, you always think, ooh, but when you're an adult and you have to think about strength, it's in those moments where you recognize the importance of the small things
Mm-hmm.
and how much they mean and how much someone may have sacrificed to give you those small things so that you can grow greater than what they were. And I think
Right.
that's what our parents um, leave us. And like I said, with dementia and with heart failure, it's a slow death. It's a different kind of death than one that comes quickly, like an accident or um, a killing. Because I've also had that in my life. My biological dad was killed, and that death was different from that of my grandmother and my mother. You know, that instantaneous someone killed him versus watching my mother slowly deteriorate, watching my grandmother slowly deteriorate. But in all three instances, the strength came in knowing that they had given their all for me to have what I have now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
is the blessing in it all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I see it. And that's where I draw my strength from.
I thank you so much for sharing that, and opening up and literally telling the world your story, um, just in regards to the resilience of your family and even yourself. Um, Amazing, amazing women, amazing women.
Yeah.
Um, how has your faith or spirituality evolved as your life experience deepened?
How has my faith or spirituality involved? I grew up going to a Catholic school. I was baptized Catholic. My grandmother was always religious. She kept a Bible under her pillow or read the Bible before we went to bed. We read the Bible when she got up at 4 a.m. in the morning. She made us go to church, even though she didn't go to church because her mother was from the South. They were from a Southern Baptist church, and she would never join a church up here, but she would still donate to her church down south. So I knew faith was important, and it was something to believe in. But as an adult, the way it changed for me was I realized a couple of things, and it is one of the forewords in this book that faith is the belief in what you cannot see. Belief is in knowing the facts. It is the facts. But spirituality is the encompassing goal of it all. It brings it all together. So you have to believe in what you can't see. You have to have faith in what you can't see. You have to believe in what you know, and you have to be equipped with the knowledge to accept that all this is all connected in some kind of way.
Okay. As a Black woman, how do you balance being strong with allowing yourself to feel?
It's hard because where I worked before, a couple of places were very diverse. And I know it has been said many times that a Black woman has to be 10 times stronger. And you do. Sometimes you do in those communities because they expect you to be the one to carry the torch, the one to bear the brunt of things, to have all the solutions. And sometimes you just don't. You just don't have them. And it gets hard. So what I try to do is figure out an even kill balance and spread the responsibility out, you know, so that it doesn't always feel on me. It doesn't always feel on me. Um, and it's okay. It's okay to let other people in, especially when the burden is too hard to carry.
Okay. What does choosing yourself look like now compared to your earlier seasons or the earlier in your life?
I think earlier in my life, I was focused on pleasing people, doing whatever it takes to have people in my corner. Now, you're either with me or you're not. It's not going to change my course. It's not going to change my path. You're either with me or you're not. And that's your choice. I'm not begging for you to be in my life. I'm not exiting you from my life if you don't want to be in my life or if you do want to be in my life.
Mhm.
I give you that option. It's totally up to you. But how you present yourself in my life is important because I'm not going to let you overpower my life by what your ideals and things are. I might take some of your advice, but not all of it because not all of it is relevant to me in my life. It's important that I stay true to myself and not try to live vicariously through someone else's dreams. And
Okay.
that's what I think I did before, trying to live what other people expected of me instead of what I expected of myself.
Okay. So, for a Black woman and or man listening who feels that too many doors have been closed, what would you tell them about staying on their feet long enough to choose a different path?
I know this sounds cliche-ish, but never give up. Never get up. No matter how downtrodden you may feel. I mean, they're beautiful colors to live out loud. Look at the beauty. Try to find beauty in everything, even the most ugliest thing that
Mhm.
you might consider is ugly. Find the beauty in it. I mean, because everything has beauty in it. I mean, white is everything washed, black is everything included, and all the colors in between is just a mixture of those two colors, some variation of those colors. So there's got to be some beauty somewhere in it, even in the most hurt person or the most inadequate situation. There has to be something that could turn out positive.
Okay. So, when someone finishes these ran over shoes of mine, especially someone navigating adversity, what do you hope they understand about resilience, survival, and their ability to choose that different path?
It's okay to have different pairs of shoes, metaphorically. Try on every different pair of shoes. Some may fit, some you may wear for a moment in time, other ones may not fit at all. But there's going to come a day where you find one pair that's just comfortably you, that's authentically you, that speaks volumes about the person you are and the person you want to become.
Okay. And then just for our closing question, for someone watching right now who's in the middle of a hard season and not sure what their next steps is, what's one thing you want them to hold on to after this conversation?
That there's someone out there that knows, there's someone that's speaking the same as you, that can tell a similar story. Uh, and you just have to believe that your story is just as important as theirs and that you can be a survivor and thriving after your hurt, after your pivot, after your downtrodden moments. There's always a day of survival as long as you keep your spirits up and associate yourselves with those who want to live positive in life, that can lift you up and not put you down.
Okay. So, what A.M. Hunt shared today reminds us that survival doesn't always look loud and strength doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's choosing to stay standing long enough to make a different decision. Her story, this beautiful woman here, her story shows us that healing doesn't wait for perfect timing. It helps in the middle of grief, in the middle of change, and in the middle of adversity. And choosing yourself doesn't mean abandoning your faith, your values, or your past. If this conversation helps you reflect on how you face adversity in your own life, I invite you to subscribe to Surviving and Thriving the Black Experience. Share this episode with someone navigating adversity right now. And I'd also like you to leave a comment telling us what adversities have shaped you but didn't break you. So, A.M. Hunt, I would love for you to tell our audience where they can, in fact, get your books again. And can you show them again?
Absolutely. This one can be brought at my website of www.bemeauthentically.com. The ABCs of Life. That's the workbook sort of to These Ran Over Shoes of Mine, which can be brought on Amazon.com. Just put in the title, These Ran Over Shoes of Mine, and it'll pop up. I, not being selfish, but putting myself first, I'm sure you will enjoy both books. Both
right.
books.
Thank you thank you so much, A.M. Hunt. I got something in my voice, but I'm saying it again. Thank you, A.M. Hunt. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your vulnerability. I appreciate your insight. And I just appreciate you being able to come on Surviving and Thriving the Black Experience to speak with me and our audience. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to tell my story. I just hope and I pray that anyone that sees it can use it and begin to live. If they have given up, just begin to live. Take it and run with it.
Amen to that. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.